Cheers, everybody, and welcome to another episode of your favorite late night Friday night hashcast. It is Variables, episode 56, streaming to you live every Friday night on YouTube, X, Twitch, and after the show on Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. How you doing tonight, Superior Buds?
Cheers, man. Doing good. How you
Merry
doing? Have a good Christmas?
Happy New Year. Yeah, dude. It was honestly, it was pretty good. I'm pretty beat. It's been a long week. Been hosting and traveling, just, and hanging out with family and spending time with the kids and extended families, kids, and it's it's been a lot, but it's been
travel always takes it out of you too. I'm
Yeah.
lucky that we don't have to go anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
We just stay in the UP, man. It's awesome.
Y'all come to us.
Yep. Well, it helps when, the wife's parents are 3 doors down and
Right.
family's just right here and nice and easy.
Didn't grow up too far from a similar situation, of having grandparents and like a great aunt and uncle all on the same street. And so I'm sure that was helpful to my parents. It was certainly nice having those relationships so close growing up, and cousins and stuff weren't too far, but not all of them anyway.
I'll tell you, when I used to drive downstate Christmas and Thanksgiving, that's a rough drive back because, of course, I always have to work right after Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all of that stuff. And not fun. 5 hours. It varies, but I've driven through 2 feet of snow the whole way home, white knuckle, a 5-hour drive taking 8 hours. Fun times.
That's funny. I saw a picture on Reddit this morning, and it was like one of the top posts on the Michigan subreddit, and regardless of the content of the photo, it was like the title was Michigan, where the weather sucks but the sunrises are beautiful, or something like that. And it's like, it's true, man. It's a pretty damn beautiful state, but you pay the price when it comes to weather.
Yeah, that's for sure. We get every extreme here. I've lived in a lot of different places, and I mean, people forget that we get 100-degree summers. We get negative 20-degree winters, and we get 100% humidity and 0% humidity, and but
some people are looking for that. I know someone that moved to the UP because he wanted to be in a place with 4 seasons.
I love my 4 seasons. I will admit, I wish winter was a little shorter every now and then. But, I wasn't prepared for December 1st getting dumped 3 feet of snow.
Right.
So, I mean, we had 55 inches of snow in our first snowfall.
It was that's so much. That's so crazy. I know that Gaylord's been getting wrecked. They got 3+ feet and then negative 21 degrees.
Yeah, they were at 85 inches already.
Yeah.
That's just wild.
That's a lot.
A winter's worth of snow in a
week. Yeah, man. And I woke up to negative 2 degrees this past week in the morning, and then tomorrow it's supposed to be in the low mid 50s.
We're above freezing. Yeah, we're 40 tomorrow.
Yeah,
and I have a 6-foot snowbank sitting out front. It's the weirdest mix. Perfect for me though, because it happened so fast and I could not get all the snow off. So I had some ice buildup that'll be nice to take off when it's 40 degrees.
Yeah, everything melted here. Yeah, I guess today. Kind of overnight last night.
My driveway's clear.
We've been watching the temperature for all day, and it's like it's predicted to do this, but we've actually been watching it for the last 6 hours, just going up 1 degree every couple hours and just keeps climbing. And it's all the way through the night. It's just going to keep climbing.
And rain too. That's going to be the other kicker is yes, Jay. I get heavy lake effect. I'm right on the lake. So
explain what lake effect is, because we get it downstate too. A lot of it's on the west side of the state, but
cold air, warm water, and wind blowing across it. It will pick up all of that moisture, and then it rapidly cools and dumps a shitload of snow. And they create pure snow bands. So where I'm at, I had 55 inches easy. You go 2 miles up the road, and there's 6 inches of snow.
That's crazy.
Just the difference of where the wind hits and where it funnels and where you get a band of snow that dumps.
It's so crazy.
And of course, after cutting a wildflower meadow this past winter or this past spring, we get quite a bit of wind now up off the lake, and
Mhm.
lots of new snow areas, lots of new drifts. Changes the whole. You take down a bunch of trees and it changes the world around you. It's wild.
Yeah, for sure, man. I know that those like orange plastic like construction marking fences do good at
Snow
like
fences.
yeah.
Yep, a lot of people do that around here. You'll see it. Um, anyone that has a large yard,
Yeah.
they'll put them on the edge so that the wind doesn't blow it all off.
Onto their driveway or yeah. I've seen
Yep.
some real long driveways with them wrapped up the whole way, 20, 30 feet away from it or whatever. I've seen a lot of areas like actually I just drove by there's a cider mill. I forget which one. It's probably Blake's or something with a B. And they there's like, I don't know, maybe a mile from there. There's this long north and south road that stretches probably over a mile next to a lot of farmland. And there's
Right.
no, windbreak or anything on this farmland. And I've driven on this road before in the wintertime, and it definitely can get pretty nasty with the drifts. And sure enough, there's like a mile worth of orange fencing up along
Yep.
it now, just in preparation for the winter.
There's a good portion along M28 here, just a straight highway and large farms right beside it. And there are times where you're going down, you can't tell where the road ends and the farm begins. And knowing that there's a fucking ditch between them, you just can't see it. So I don't like driving in the snow.
No, I mean, I'd rather be driving in the snow than at night in the rain. That's my least favorite.
Yeah. I guess I don't mind snow once the snow is set. It's the early snow before you get any salt on the roads, before you can actually get any definition to the edges, where you literally can't tell where the road starts and the shoulder begins, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually how I took my driver's training test back in the day. It was just I had it scheduled for a certain day or whatever, and that day comes, and sure enough, there's like a freaking blizzard outside.
Oh,
I'm
what a
like, well,
day.
yeah, I still want to take my test. They kind of were like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "Well, I'll still take it." Reason
Yeah.
being, because my older brother, went through the same situation. And I remember him like being like, "Yeah, dude, you couldn't see the lines, so they couldn't mark me down for the lines. If I was going over the lines." I'm
That's
like, all
funny.
right. And he's like, and you also have to go like 25, 35 miles per hour everywhere you go, like even on the expressway. So you don't got to worry about speed living and break. He's like, you're not going to get docked any points. Sure enough, dude, that's exactly what happened. The only point I got docked on my entire driver's training test was backing in because I took out a cone on my way in. Didn't get docked any points for going over any lines, going too fast, doing, any weird. You did have to definitely stop a little bit earlier than maybe you normally would have to, but yeah, it wasn't bad, man.
My fear is always catching that little slush crap on the corner and it just pulling you in.
Yep.
It's
Especially on the dirt roads, That's
feels
how it
so
was yesterday
sketchy
around here.
Yeah. Or I mean, up here, we'll be cruising along. All our roads are 65 miles an hour up here.
Mhm.
Granted, in the snow, you're not usually going that fast, but sometimes there's a tourist behind you with a full trailer and they're trying to get past you and they just want to get to their destination. And then you get a deer that runs out across the road. Son of a fully loaded fifth wheel behind you, riding your bumper,
Yeah, yep. That's terrifying. They don't get it.
Little scary.
Yeah. You're about to be a sandwich.
I do want to try some of my.
Yeah, show us what you got there. That's a pretty neat looking box.
Yeah, so they just won Cannabis Cup Michigan for concentrate, solventless, large box, baby jar, but it is kind of cute.
Nice.
Focus.
Say enjoy your buzz.
Yes.
Nice. What do they got? All the flavor profiles listed on there. It looks like. I see gassy at the top.
See if I can get it to focus. Start that.
Thank you for choosing our gassy collection. Racing fuel, diesel, exhaust, rubber, glue, cleaner, dough / yeast, cookie, and cream. Yeah. So those are kind of their explanation of all the different
Yeah.
gas category flavors they have. So there's citrus, funky, candy, and floral. Floral are the other ones, it looks like. Or are those, is that all part of that one, or is those like
no, these are their
options?
other collections.
Okay.
They
See
put
how
everything
that'd be
into
a
one
little
of 4. Yeah.
Wait, 1 of 4 or 1 of 5?
I guess, wait, was Gassy not on that one? You're right, 1 of 5.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that they would have just had all of them here, but that's actually interesting because that means they have 5 different versions of the box. Different versions.
Yeah, and that makes sense because they're categorizing everything into those 5 different flavors / colors / descriptions. I like the branding, the marketing, this kind of scheme of what's going on. But yeah, then of course you just have all your strain specific data or whatever right on the back there. So Wojo Runts 1 gram, 73% THC, 9% terps. That's pretty solid terps.
Yeah, it's definitely terpy, but it's not sharp. It's very clean. It's a very clean smoke. They did a good job with it. Here, let me crack it. It should be warm by now. If I can get the jar open.
Yeah, you got to tell us about these jars too. You were saying
I just had to fight the jar. It's
so hard to find the perfect jar, man.
Well, you can see the indentation on the inside.
So it's sealed for sure.
It's definitely sealed. And
but it's just challenging to get it there. Okay. So I can blow you up here. It's got a nice little sheen to it.
Let's see if we can
1 gram jar, right?
Yeah. Let's see if I can get up here and get a tool.
There we go. Okay, nice and cakey battery, not like too stringier and sappy or anything like that.
Right. No, not too runny, easy to dab. Sits on the tool nice. Not crumbly, which is nice.
I'm actually kind of recently. Really? Do you think those got dried out after the fact, or what's the deal here?
I think it's just age. You can tell looking at some of the cold cures. I don't know if you've seen this with your own. Well, you don't do more of a drier product, right? Yours are more saucy, right?
Yeah, I try to avoid getting it to the crumbly point. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you will.
So with cold cure, you get it. It's almost like a step before. It's not spongy as this, but it's fudge, right? But not crumbly fudge. And when cold cure, once it dries out, you can start to see. Have you ever seen fudge when it dries out? How the edges, like if you have a pointy edge where it's thinner, that pointy edge will get white. You'll start to actually see the color start leaving on the edges. So you can tell you need to smash it, mix it. I don't know if it's terpenes evaporating from the thinner portions or if it's migrating to the less. I don't know what
that's an oxidization or oxidation. Also terps, yeah, probably being evaporated from that portion or whatever. And terps do hold a lot of the color, but I don't think the colors are necessarily going to evaporate. I think it's more of like think of a solvent evaporating. That's kind of what the terps are doing.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I can see how that'd be more of a oxidation process than anything,
which is weird because they're good sealed jars that I know have been kept in cold storage correctly.
Well, but I'm sure their process is down pat, but one of the things I think about is like, all right, if that was tested at 9% terpenes, is that when it's all in that bulk jar, like kind of still fresh before it gets packaged? Because I'll tell you what, I bet you're losing some of that 9% in that packaging process. Even if you're doing it in a cold room, even if you're trying to do it fast, capping jars, whatever. Like, I don't know.
Like I always say, if you're smelling it, you're losing it.
Right.
I mean, that's just the fact of it, right?
Yeah.
Like at the end of my grow, I like to cool it down so much that people will be like, your plants don't stink like they used to. I'm like, well, that's on purpose.
They're
I want it
holding
in the
it in,
plant.
saving it for you.
Yeah, I want to smoke it. I don't want to smell it for the month before harvest.
Mm-hmm. And
And
quick pro
same with
tip on
proper
that
cure.
too. Yeah, that's a huge. I mean, that's possibly even more important than what I'm about to say. For sure, it's more important than what I'm about to say. But I like to harvest and basically right before the lights come on. And I don't know if you guys out there have spent a whole lot of time like just sitting in your room sniffing the air at certain points of the day. But certainly when the lights go off, there's a giant dump of smell you'll notice, and it's like I think that's more or less the plants responding to that and going to sleep and doing this weird release. But that's also the point at which they have their lowest terpene content, according to the testing that I've seen. And at the point at which they have their highest terpene content is pretty much right at morning time, right before or right as the lights are coming on.
100%.
So I try to harvest within like that hour or two of the lights before they come on. And even if it's a little bit after they come on, you can always dim them. You can just pull a couple lights or whatever.
Well, or you if you know you're harvesting that day, you can always go extra dark.
That's not always the case though, because if you're perpetual, you can't be putting other plants.
Well, right, that's true. If you're harvesting the full room, you can always just kill the lights.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, if I was doing it if I was not monocropping, but like, harvesting the entire room at once, I probably would give it an extra day or maybe even 48 hours of darkness.
I do it because I can't harvest my whole room in one day.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it just is the case, right?
Sorry, like work, kid, everything. You just can't get it all done. I mean, at most, I'm harvesting 5 at a time, 5, 6 at a time.
Yeah.
By the time
is that like one light's worth, 2 lights worth? How many?
I've got 6 lights.
But like, I mean, how many 5 or 6 plants you're saying?
Yeah, right.
And how many like lights would that take up?
All 6 of my lights.
So you got 1 plant per light?
No, because of the way my lights are distributed. So I have even coverage over the top of the canopy, and then even coverage inside the canopy. So I have 4 lights spread out over the top and 2 lights inner canopy.
But you said you harvested 5 or 6 plants at a time, and that's not your whole room. So how many?
No, that is my whole room.
5 or 6 plants is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought you said you were. I thought you said you're like.
Oh no! Like I don't ever end up with 12 making. I'll start with 12, but 12 don't make it all the way through flower.
I know, but when it comes to harvesting, though, sorry, I misunderstood what you meant. I thought you meant like you might get through 5 or 6 plants, but that's not.
No. I'm only harvesting 5 or 6 plants, but it's my full room, and I can only do like a 4x4 per day.
Yeah.
I mean, the plants, I'll always have a full canopy. It's easy to spread, and when you've got I've got that height.
Yeah. So, they want to naturally spread out anyway. Most of them.
Yeah. And I've been doing a lot of, I mean, the last test we ran was that Maui Wowie for Vader, and that fucker just would not stop stretching, and it almost outgrew my space.
Yeah.
I had flattened it, and it came up another 2 foot. So I'm like, holy shit.
That's a lot.
Yeah. No, it would have been, if I'd have done that outside, it'd have been pretty crazy. So
it's funny seeing
I see this type of stuff a lot. So I would never agree with that, because you can't determine how many lights go over, because I can grow 1 plant in 1 light, or I could use 4 lights for 1 plant, depending on my grow style. So you can change that up. But I mean, even over, like my setup now was 1,000 watt single light for a long time, but now it's 4 lights, but my lights are only 300 watts because I want to spread my light pattern out. So it's about efficiency and not light count per se. And not even really, I don't even do wattage per square meter type of thing anymore.
I know that's like that used to be kind of the standard was watts per square foot. And then, you start having to think about like, well, it's more 3D space. So it's more like watts per square meter. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start thinking about like the fact that, well, there's some strains that take 9 weeks, some strain that takes 7 weeks. So it's really
Time.
watts per square meter per hour, you know.
That's
And
why
then
we
it's
don't
like, how
measure.
much labor are you putting into it? You know what I mean? How much, what are the nutrients? What are the input costs you're putting in? So watts per square meter per hour per dollar. I think that's the
Yeah.
ultimate algorithmic formula there.
Yeah, I mean, when Green Gene and I were going back and forth on it, I mean, it's been 5 years when watts per meter was everyone, and then it was he started talking about squared, like you said, and I was like, well, what about time? Like, what happens if I veg 1 week or I veg 6 weeks?
Right?
My yield's vastly different, but I didn't change my light.
Mm-hmm.
So there's again variables, right?
Right, too many
You
damn
can just
variables.
tweak it, and it's what I love about the plant. You can grow it how you want to grow it.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time, but the different growing philosophies and how that can affect, not only the outcome, but of course the entire process along the way. Sometimes it's just about making the grower comfortable.
Right. And Dirty's right there. I mean, looking at your kilowatt cost per hour too is another good one.
Right. Yeah, because
Definitely.
everyone pays different rates for electricity, and so it's
100%.
how do you compare there?
Yeah. I mean, we're 100% hydroelectric up here, and we have a co-op. So, we own the power plant type of thing. We get very cheap rates. And thank God. It's my grow's not my most expensive piece of electric. I got baseboard heaters freaking everywhere. So
Yeah.
I can't imagine what my electric but then again, I watch, there was a discussion we had a couple weeks back on Twitter or X. Someone posted their electric bill and it was $1,200, I want to say. And gosh, I forget he was in Connecticut though, or Maine. It was one of the two. But we started comparing electric rates and it was 4 times my rate. I can't imagine.
What do you know what you were paying?
What am I paying now?
I actually have to look this up because I remember having this discussion back in the GrowTube days, and it was like 12 to 14 cents per kilowatt hour, and it's not anywhere close to that now.
Yeah. I am 6 cents a kilowatt hour.
That's insane. That's so cheap, dude.
Yeah. I have to. I mean, my usage was wild. We're definitely way below average in Michigan. And I left a dab out that I didn't do.
Whoops. I do know that upon my research with the whole Asable consumers, dams, and all that going on, apparently hydroelectric is one of the more expensive forms of electricity, in terms of production, I guess. Again, this is my lack of knowledge on it, but I think it has something to do with
one of the
probably
things
just
that
the
they
technology is so old.
One of the things they tout with ours is they have not raised the prices in like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So because we're a co-op, the whole thing's paid for. It's just maintenance. That's basically it. So.
Well, it's funny that you say that, Doug, because they actually gouge electric in the summer here. So I just looked it up. I pay between about 18, 19 cents per kilowatt hour.
On demand thing?
And no, that's average.
That's not your surge?
That's non-peak. So that means peak, I'm spending about 31 cents or so per kilowatt hour, or peak hours throughout the summer, which is crazy. Getting some reports here.
Oh, I had it wrong. I pay 4 cents a kilowatt hour. I'm sorry.
That's so cheap.
433 cost per kilowatt hour. And that has been the same rate since 2017.
That's awesome. So yeah, it's almost like not even worth getting solar.
Right. I mean, especially when my panels will be buried with snow for 9 months out of the year.
Right, especially where you're at. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't.
Now I did look at the Tesla roof.
Oh, hold on. I want you to get some self-heating panels.
Yeah, the Tesla roof has self-heating, and that is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I think a
Um,
lot of the big like solar farms are like that now. Maybe not so much for like the top or side of your house or whatever, but I
mhm.
think a lot of those bigger ones because you're driving
Where
by, dude, and it's like, why is all the snow off those things?
I did the research on it for me, and it makes sense, but for it to be economical year round, it has to be a tracking based system for me because the angles are so drastically different, and we're so
Yeah,
short on su then the last part about it is I have trees everywhere. I'm in the
I
forest.
was gonna
Even
say
though
you'd
I'm
have to
on the
put them on
lake,
the top of each tree or something like.
I don't have consistent sunlight. Even to get my greenhouse is gonna lose sun halfway through the day and then get it back for another couple hours just
Yeah.
because I don't wanna drop 20 trees.
Well, yeah, and where all your trees are at, you can't like you'd have to drop them to capture that sun. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It
Yeah,
doesn't.
well, and they're not small trees. So these are
You're gonna be
50-foot
building
trees.
another log home if you be doing that shit, dude.
They're 50 feet away from where I'm talking, but they're
Yeah,
so fucking tall, they cast a shadow, you know, and,
yeah.
our sun is so low in the winter, and, I mean, shit, we run the hen light just so we get eggs in the winter because we don't get anywhere near enough sunlight for chickens to
Mhm,
lay eggs.
mhm. I know our chickens are pretty low on the laying right now. It's a
Mhm.
little disappointing, but especially with these new rules going into play in Michigan here in the next 5 days,
What's
I
that?
think all eggs being sold at grocery stores have to be cage free, so
Oh,
prices be going up and supply be going down.
interesting. But
Yeah.
cage free is a very unique definition
Yes, it
too. It's
is.
not what people think.
I know.
So, it's I think that's like
It's a
they get
step in the right direction, but still
it
far from
is.
what.
I think cage free means that they have 3 square feet per chicken, or is it 1.5 square foot per
Yeah, it's
chicken?
like 2 or it's not a whole
It's
lot, but
yeah, which whatever, it's better
there's
than
and
factory
there's like
farming.
yeah, there's pasture, like
Mhm,
organic, there's all these different terms you can attach to it, but I know the rules when they come to, the regulations, it's like basically do they have outdoor access is one thing, and then do they have vertical access is like the next step, which I thought was kind of funny because it's like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like you could give them all the space in the world, but if they can't go more than a foot high, you know what I mean? Isn't that
mhm.
still kind of like living in a cage, Like
Well, yeah, especially I mean, that's their whole point. Their native instinct is to get higher at night. They wanna
yep,
be up off the ground away from
yep,
predators.
yeah. I mean, so none of mine are sleeping on the ground at night, and
Oh,
most
no.
of them are up in the rafters of my fucking shed. They're not living, on the
It's
roosts I
funny you
built
build
on
all
it.
kinds of
So
shit for them, right? And then they're
yeah,
gonna
dude.
go stand on stuff and poop where you don't want them to, and little
Directly
bastard.
into the food. Great, thank you.
So, mine have an elevated coop that is heated, great, insulated. It's got a giant window, so they get sunlight right when the morning sun comes up, multiple roofs inside, like, perfectly built. I have 3 chickens that sleep outside in the run. One of them sleeps on a ladder that hangs on one of my little tiny bantams. She's this big.
Yeah.
She sleeps on a ladder that I have on the wall that I use to get into the loft. So every time I take my ladder down, like this giant pile of chicken shit falls off at the end.
Every time. We talk about the sun and it coming up and down or lack thereof. I can pull this video up. Some reason I can't open it in a new tab. Hold on. I found a really cool video and it's showing the um basically the time it's a time lapse of the 24-hour Antarctic sun. Um we're gonna have to do it this way. Hold on. And the reason I want to share it is just because you're not quite there. You're not you're not at the poles or anything, but there is like this phenomena, if you want to call it that, where the sun doesn't really get too high in the sky at a certain point on the Earth at a certain time of the year, and sometimes it doesn't get very low in the sky either. So this is a 24-hour time lapse of the Antarctic sun with the camera just tracking it around.
The
And
video and stuff out of this were really cool.
yeah, and if you've never seen this before, it's just kind of mind blowing to actually like. I would love to actually go experience it. I think it'd be kind of terrifyingly beautiful to witness this,
Right.
But yeah, it's just that angle doesn't really change much. It never goes down. Just
Yeah.
rotates around you.
Right in the sky, right there. Just, gosh. And it's funny because you can see it just dips a little and then goes back up a
Mhm,
little. It's just,
mhm. Yeah, it's not perfectly linear, but it's not that, not like what we're used to. It's always interesting moving to a new place. I don't know how many
yeah.
different places you've lived, but um in my most current of residences, it's very clear where the like how much in terms of the 360 degrees that you're looking at, right? Wherever you're standing. Like say the sun is rising at 90 and setting at 180 or whatever. It's crazy how that drastically changes, and the sun starts rising a little bit earlier in the sky and setting later in the sky, and it's covering more of the sky, that all of a sudden it starts reducing and coming back down. And we just
Yeah.
had
It's
our
living on the lake. It was really cool because you can
yeah,
see
see so much of it.
so much of it when it comes up. And I mean, its sunrise is right out of my window. Oh, there goes that fucking jar again.
Tell us about it. Tell us about this jar. We'll come back to this comment.
I can't get the fucking jar closed.
The Fragoli proof packaging.
Oh, it just did. Oh, look. It's sealed now. And now to
Okay.
get it open. Oh, so this one's not as bad. Let's see if I had a bum. Excuse me. Yeah, this other one, there's something wrong with this one. The second jar is way better. Oh, there it goes. I just got it. I mean, I had to.
How do you know it's closing? Is there like
it clicks?
So it's kind of like the PopVac ones.
Yeah. So it's those little, and it's not a. I'm trying to look at the edge.
Yeah, it's definitely got that little angled part. Which is interesting because I don't see that on the PopVac ones. It just looks like a regular, like thread,
Yeah, see that one doesn't look bad. This one, it's these little tiny nubs that are on the lid.
Yeah, you can see those.
They have to go and you have to push down and then in, and then it pops up.
Is
But
that just
angle,
child resistance?
that angle means you don't have to actually push down. So you just have to turn it. But you can't get enough grip on the jar.
Yeah. Dude, that's why I really liked the ribbed labels, is because like it actually gave you just a little bit to grip onto. You know what I mean? Not much, but just
the smooth glass is no fun.
Be too close. Ribbed for our opening pleasure, I guess. Like, gotta get these damn things open.
Oh, I was gonna say, Garden had posted this here. The same thing goes for chickens too, where you supplement only in the morning. But the reason for chickens is because they need to see sunset happening so they know to go roost.
Yeah. Start throwing off their circadian rhythm or whatever.
Yeah. It's actually interesting too, though, because, the wife's parents are right up the road and they have chickens. Their chickens won't go to bed until 9 p.m. in the summer. My chickens are done at 5:30, 6 o'clock. They leave their outdoor run, go to the indoor run, and by 7 o'clock, they're roosted and in bed. You're muted.
Do you think it's like the shade of the trees or something? Or like, are they in a different...
It's because I run the hen light in the winter.
Okay.
And so in the winter time, it sucks. I will hear my roosters crowing as I'm going to bed at 2 a.m. because the light will come on at 2 a.m. because they need 16 hours of daylight to lay eggs. and the sun's setting at 4:30, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So 2 a.m. is when the light comes and it actually does mimic it. It brings up reds and oranges and then transitions into yellows over a couple hours.
Nice.
But I did forget this winter that means, excuse me, that they lay early. So you have to check eggs early because they freeze quick.
Yeah, we were dealing with that a little bit last year, some frozen eggs, and it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to get some new trays. Where do I have them? Here we go. These are roll-out nest boxes. And so the eggs automatically roll out into the tray so the chickens can't get to them. It reduces egg eating, which is a big problem for us right now. But also they have a heat mat that you can buy that goes into the rollout section. And it's just a low power heat mat, keeps them toasty, stops them from freezing. Muted again.
Looks like it's for what, maybe like 4 chickens or something. It doesn't look too big.
You don't need one nest box per chicken though.
I know, as long as they all go lay there.
Yeah. I mean, we've had up to 20 something at our peak, I think, and we've only got 3 nest boxes.
Mm-hmm.
We were good. And especially now that half of them are bantams, I'll go in there sometimes and I'll have 2 bantams laying eggs and then have a big ass chicken sitting on top of all of them laying another egg.
Oh, jeez.
They don't care.
That's hilarious. My one of my friends came by today and he hadn't seen our bantams yet, and he saw the little bantam rooster fly by. He's like, "What's that? A miniature rooster?" It's like, hell yeah,
Little
dude.
bantam roosters are freaking hilarious, man.
They're so cool, dude. I mean, you're the one, like I've said before, you're the one that turned me on to them in the past, and it was really that rooster, your little bantam rooster. It was like, holy shit, that's
he's just he's what you expect when you think of a rooster.
Yeah, but just
But
tiny.
Yeah. It is the rooster from what's the Disney movie?
Moana.
Yeah, and he's about as smart as him too.
What the hell's his name? I think that's what we named ours.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Our first batch were all named after the rat.
Yeah, it's Hey Hey.
Hey Hey, there you go.
Yeah, we named ours Hey Hey because of that.
Ours were named Alpha, Blue, Charlie, after the raptors in Jurassic Park or whatever. And then one of them was named Nugget.
Okay.
And then we had another one named Asshole who ended up. That was, I mean, you saw him, I think.
I think so too.
That was a big chicken. He was bigger than most turkeys.
Shit.
I have a photo. I mean, wife's dad came over to take him out for me one day, and he took a 22 to the head and turned his head and looked back at him, and we're like, "Oh crap!" And he had to shoot him again. That chicken was not happy.
That's terrifying.
Yeah,
I mean, I've seen raccoons do that, but in bigger rounds of 22. But a chicken, that's terrifying.
Yeah, he was pretty large.
Well, don't they say that when you cut a chicken's head off, it's still like alive for 30 seconds or something like that? Maybe that's what was going on there.
Right, that was just body reacting. Oh my gosh, I do like being able to search my photos by, just type in a word, right? But apparently I take a lot of chicken photos.
Are you AI generating the tags, or are you manually doing that?
Oh, I don't tag anything. I've never tagged anything. Yeah.
Because how crazy is that's how they used to, I mean, only up until a few years ago, that's how they used to do all of that. And think about like the news and sports production companies that have just unbelievably deep databases.
This is why you get a 3D printer.
There you go. Them's be fighting words.
She was not happy.
I bet.
Have you ever tried the chicken aprons?
No, we haven't messed with them too much like that, but we've thought about it a lot.
We had a lot of bare-backed chickens. Our roosters were pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
So we tried the chicken aprons and we got it on the first chicken, and every other chicken looked at her like she was a monster. And we had the biggest shit show explosion of chicken feathers and clucking and chickens flying. It was the craziest thing. And she's freaking out. Like, what are you guys freaking out about? So she's trying to run, and then everyone's trying to run from her. It was messed up.
Yeah, we thought about putting one of our kids' diapers on our chickens and letting them in the house for a little bit. And some of them are there's a couple that are so stinking curious and like, dude, if we leave the back door open for just a minute too long, there's a couple of them that make their way in. They start eating freaking dog food out of the dog bowl, and we're like, yo.
There's the chicken aprons.
That's interesting.
And I saw this one up here. That's a good size one right there. Have you done meat birds at all yet?
No, not yet.
Our neighbor across the street does them and does a lot at a time.
Like how many? Like 50?
I want to say like 50. Yeah. I mean, he's feeding a large family.
Yeah.
Yeah, large family. And so it's pretty interesting process. I still don't know if I can do it all the way yet. Not a fan of guts and all that crap. So
it's a lot smaller of a mess to deal with than like a deer or something like that. But at the same time, it's kind of like you're doing, you're not just doing one. So now you got to cut out, 20, 30, 50 different entrails at once, essentially, not just one big one.
You almost need to assembly line it.
Yeah.
Give each person 100%. A job type of thing. Yep. If you can get a community involved around it, it works out really well.
Yeah, that's why you hire the Amish and they bring over their trailer and they assembly line that shit up.
Yep. I mean, the Amish charge like $3 a bird here to do it.
$3 now? Dang, I thought it was $2.
Yeah, I know, right? Even inflation's hitting them.
Right? Seriously.
Fuck. Horseshoe tax.
Wait, what? What is shoe tax?
I said horseshoe tax.
Oh, that's shoe tax. I'm like, what? I don't even want to guess on that one.
Amish have been great for us. I mean, we can get wood from them. I got my shed built by them. It's just next up is stripping and refinishing the exterior of the cabin because I don't want. Yeah.
How long is that? Or like what kind of process? What does the process look like for that?
I actually don't know.
Because they're not. I mean, obviously
they're doing it by hand.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not going to do a chemical strip. So like,
nope, they're doing it all by hand.
Sand the shit out of it or what? Oh my god,
no sanding. It's no, because they're not actually taking the old stain off. You're just cleaning it and then reapplying stain.
Huh.
So they're not actually taking it all the way down.
Seems like a good job for a power washer.
Well, that's the thing is you're not supposed to use a power washer on log cabins.
I know, but it seems like it would be a good idea.
For my house, I don't think it would be a problem because we have the dovetail joints. And so water can't force its way between the logs. But with a normal chinked cabin, you would blow the chinking right out with a power washer.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that stuff's not solid on the inside.
I thought it was like mortar or whatever. Like
no, a lot of times it's like hemp rope and then like a mortar over top of it, but it's not a very thick layer of mortar.
Okay.
And I mean, that's something you could probably blast up. You do it her parents' cabin is that way. And, I mean, my house, the restaining is every 5 years. I think rechinking is every 3.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah. With cat. That was one thing that they didn't tell you before you buy
maintenance.
Yeah. When I Googled it, there's like a page of Here's what you do every year. Here's what you do every 2 years. Here's what you do every 3. Here's what you do every 5, all the way down because there's constant maintenance. You have to adjust your windows every couple years. Like, otherwise, your windows don't open. Shit settles, you know. We're not
Yeah,
working with
yeah,
dried wood, and
yeah.
so, well, mine was all kiln dried, but even mine settles.
Oh damn, they kiln dried those big ass logs, huh? That's cool.
Yeah, I have no
That's a
idea
big
how.
kiln, dude. Oh my god.
Mhm. I swear that the center post couldn't have been kiln dried though, because that one has some cracks in it, some checking
Okay.
up and down it, you know, which is always fun when you're looking at a 30-foot log that holds your whole house up.
Yeah, right.
Are those cracks okay? Like,
Is that thing still growing or
right.
is that in the ground? So we're wrapping up 2024 here, Superior Buds. Looking back, at least briefly, um, I feel like we actually did do a prediction show for 2024, and one of the few things I remember talking about, I think it was on the show, was I thought cherry was going to make a big comeback in terms of flavor profile for this year.
Mhm.
Now, I will say that while I didn't think that really made a breakthrough like I thought it might, I have heard a lot of rumblings in the last month or two about cherry flavors, especially cherry lime, which I think is funny because cherry lime haze is what got me my first medal from High Times.
Mhm.
But even I think it was the Sun Grown competition here in Michigan that Country Roots puts on, they had a cherry category this year.
Oh,
So
interesting.
maybe we weren't entirely off on that prediction, but it didn't really come quite fully to fruition. I don't know. I mean, can you think of any like flavor profiles, not strains or not like specific terps, I guess, but
I'm
like,
always so off from what the mainstream likes.
well,
It's
that's
weird.
yeah, that's what I'm trying
Like,
to
I
figure out.
feel
Like,
like
what was it this year?
this year was all the Z shit still, wasn't it? That's just all I seem to be seeing. It's just everywhere. And you get people asking for it a lot because I think it was so hyped up on socials.
Yeah,
Like, personally, it's not my favorite taste at all.
I'm not even sure if I can describe it because I don't think I've had enough of it.
I'm in my head, I don't know how I would describe it either. And then again, I've also had 2 or 3 different varieties where they were
Mhm.
drastically different, and I'm like, "Come on, somebody's bullshitting here." So, I don't know. I I always feel like fruit has got its place. I would like to see I'm trying to think of an older flavor that I haven't seen in a while.
Sours or something.
Yeah, like, you know how stuff comes in cycles, it seems. Everything
Mhm.
seems to be cyclical. So, the people that hate to say it, but once we get old, I mean, yeah, you've seen it once in your childhood, and then you see it again in your adult age. It's whether it's clothes, music style, all that shit. So I feel like maybe we should have I would like to see more skunk, like not just pure stinky skunk. Like I don't know why. Skunk is the one smell that even though it's supposed to stink, I don't think it stinks because that always meant good things back in the fucking 80s.
Oh, it stinks, but it's not a necessarily like a bad smell, is what you're saying.
Right.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
Like it's
cheese. That's a good one I'd like to see come back.
oh right. Hmm. I don't think I have any cheese in the vault. I just went through my vault the other day trying to pick out the
Did
next
you?
yeah, trying to
Nice.
figure out what I'm gonna pop next. Came up in my memories though, the Subcool clown slippers. I tested a fem line for him. It was his only fem seeds he made. And the pictures came up and they were just giant freaking donkey dicks. And that was pre me washing hash. And now I'm kind
Mhm.
of like, I remember really liking the flavor profile, and I wonder I still
Capture
have
that
some in there.
essence. I'm gonna pull up the High Spy IO graphic that we shared. Because
Yeah.
on here,
She's saying
I think it actually does show us some of the top selling products. So this is concentrates. So GMO cookies, YOLO berry, and wedding cake. So obviously GMO cookies and wedding cake have been around for quite some time.
Well, and I would bet that's the top selling product because they produced an absolute shit ton of it.
Could be.
Like
Yeah,
Loom is one of those where their own metrics get skewed. You have to almost have internal data to know percentage of. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, it's a lot of, it's
if you had a whole
vertically
field of
integrated.
GMO cookies, of course it's going to be a top selling product.
Yeah. A wedding, I mean, but then again, GMO cookies, wedding cake, those are both very common strains, So yellow berry, I haven't really heard of. So maybe they, that's one of those cases where they produced a shitload of the same strain or something.
And if you think about it, though, too, a lot of times people try it because the name implies flavor, right?
Yeah,
I
of course.
found that lately that's not as much the case, and I'm wondering, like YOLO berry. I don't know. I haven't heard that cultivar myself either. So who created it? Why was it named? Is it actually a berry flavor? Right?
Is it,
or is it a wedding cake?
that? Yeah, or is it a combination of several different strains? Because we're talking concentrates, and they just made a giant batch of it. I don't know. Who knows? This is the number 3 is not surprising to me. Ice cream cake under the flower here. Gastropop and sour gummies are the number 1 and number 2 top selling flower apparently, and this is again just for the month of November, I believe. But yeah, ice cream cake, that's a pretty popular strain. I heard of a lot of people different growing that over the last few years, but at the same time, like that's not one that I would assume would be top 3.
YOLO berry is GDP crossed with OG Kush and gelato.
Okay.
Which is interesting because I haven't seen GDP in a long time either.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not too common nowadays. What's interesting about these top selling gummies is none of them are just straight THC. I know they're all wild.
Oh, right.
But they're all 4-to-1, 2-to-1 to 1, 1-to-1.
Huh.
Yeah. Interesting note there.
That is an interesting one. Are people buying gummies mainly for pain relief type of stuff?
Right, or going to sleep. I mean, that's the most common thing I hear.
Oh, yeah, right, because there is a CBN one up there, right?
All of them old people that can finally get their hands on some gummies with, no legal repercussions are like, oh, I just love going to get me them pack of gummies, get my little, nibble on, and yep. So pre-rolls, vaporizers, maybe this is a little bit less of a indicator of flavor here, but top selling pre-rolls, we got strawberry sour diesel, churro, and blueberry crumble. And then on the vaporizer side, you've got black cherry punch, runts, and watermelon burst. Yeah, I mean runts, I recognize that one, right?
Yeah. So randomly before, I guess a couple days ago now, I went through all the different AIs and asked them, based on the trends in 2024 in the state of Michigan's cannabis recreational market, what could you predict for 2025?
Was there a consensus? General consensus.
General consensus was the market. It was little talking out of both sides of the mouth. So start there. You can tell it's AI. It doesn't know, one sentence to the next. It believes that we will have smaller producers and more smaller producers entering receivership or getting acquired by larger, more cash flow stable producers. I think that's probably a given.
I think it's already happening.
Yeah, right. I think I think the consensus was it will accelerate until the market stabilizes.
So we haven't hit bottom yet.
Right. But when we hit bottom, we should see, and they're expecting bottom to be this year, where there's not much lower the market can go that the market can bear.
I think, yeah, this year's effects of Croptober will finally get us there, I think.
Yes. Yeah. That's one thing they said is the supply right now far outweighs the demand. And by consolidating and expanding the available SKUs, so they're talking about then taking that product that was earmarked for one process and putting it into something else, shifting the market.
Well, we can thank Ohio a little bit because even though their prices are falling, they're still continuing to shop here in Michigan.
That's pretty funny. Trying to think of one other thing they said. They expected smaller growers to start popping up, which was pointing more towards more micro businesses. And it was funny because right after I didn't agree with that one, but I didn't know. And then right after that one, I read there's a new micro business in Jackson that just popped up.
Really?
Yep. So that's the first one I've heard about in a while. That was just on, I believe, MLive.
That'd be the definitely the first one in at least a year.
Right. Because the last one that popped, well, the only one that popped up here closed. That didn't last very long.
5 Point Farms.
There we go.
Joe Cranmore said he strives to improve the lives of others and led him to open his own marijuana microbusiness in Jackson. 5 Point Farms opened on Friday, December 13th. It's the first of its kind in Jackson County because unlike dispensaries, it grows and processes its products on site. So that means they're just a regular microbusiness, not Class A or whatever.
Right.
We're excited, nervous, you could say. It's been so much work and it feels like it's just taken forever. It's like getting to that finish line, finally being able to welcome people and to actually see what we've done. He's been in it for 12 years now, it looks like. Worked as caregivers. Wanted to open his own seed to shelf business, quote unquote.
There's the 150 plant limit.
That's a nice little typo there. MLive.
Oh, nice.
8,500 square foot facility, grows a max of 150 plants, which are all trimmed, watered, and cared for by hand, creating high quality products, he said. Yeah, finding fresh products is fairly difficult. Feel that. I think we all probably feel that. If we're shopping in dispos. Many growers came in, they're mass producing cannabis, and now it sits on a shelf for a while and ends up at a store sold for cheap. What I would like to do is get customer feedback on which ones they really like, because if people really like one strain, then we'll just grow more of that. Maybe add something similar to it. Open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sunday.
So it's nice to see a new one, though.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Wish them all the best for sure.
For real, dude.
They have a good sized facility. It sounds like he has multiple SKUs already started. Like it sounds like they have a good plan. Now just make the economics work and go visit him. Keep him in business.
Yeah, seriously. And Joe, I assume this is this is Josh on this screen here, but Josh, Joe, whomever, come on the show. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, you got any predictions for 2025 before you wrap up the year here? I mean, all the AIs gave us a little bit of an insight to what they think.
Yeah, I just looked at Michigan's industry is what I was looking at there.
Yeah.
For the industry as a whole, I think we're probably going to see some cool new equipment. I've already had a sneak peek of some new stuff. So, I'm hoping that we'll see some movement at the federal level, but I'm also terrified of movement at the federal level. So,
yeah,
just either way, I'm still going to grow weed. I just right. I don't know. I'm hoping to see some banking. We talked about that last year. I hope for it for 2024, but banking's going to open doors. R&D, just the same things I'm going to wish for every single year. And we do a little bit every year. At some point, the door is going to get kicked the fuck open, and we're just going to see some good shit.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been we've been adopting technology and engineering and whatnot from other industries for a long time, and I do feel like that we are innovating for our own industry now and have been maybe for a couple of years. That's why I think that the lighting tech has come so far so quickly, and then the last half decade or so. I think a lot of the big kind of commercial equipment stuff, like irrigation systems, rack systems, that kind of stuff. I don't know how much more they can really kind of come up with. I think they probably would have to pivot into
the growing side is pretty saturated, right?
Well, even that's fluctuated significantly though, with the closure of so many of those major
and the consolidation.
What Hawthorne and all of them did with just shuttering businesses essentially, but so it's less cannibalization from their own perspective, but less competition and less innovation in the market as a whole too. So it's kind of like, I don't know that, the consolidation, mergers, acquisitions type of stuff is necessarily a good thing, especially the timing wise for our industry, when we really should be growing, expanding, and dumping a ton of money into it. We did that for a little bit, but it seemed so quick.
It'll be interesting to see if, and I don't know, I haven't read a lot on the tariff situation and all of that, but if that is the case and manufacturing does pick back up in the US, do we see people innovating that way? Like say the Bucket Company, right? So he actually went to a local manufacturer. He has his molds. He has his plastic pressed, I love his systems. They're great. Do we see more of stuff like that coming in? Because I mean, I don't even know, is Botanicare and all of those here, or can we have smaller people compete?
I mean, with nutrients and stuff, it's like you could just, you're not going to be able to source the nutrients from.
Yeah, everyone can buy raw ingredients and mix shit. I mean,
yeah, but most of those raw ingredients aren't coming from the United States, is what I'm saying. So like, it's one of those things where it's like, even if you can source them from the United States, it's going to be significantly more expensive anyway.
I love my Jacks. They've been doing it for a shitload longer than everyone else in the US.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's going to be major regulatory shifts in the next year. I think in Michigan they're trying to do a similar thing with the consolidation of the regulatory side of things too. So maybe we'll see something like that. But I don't. That really won't. Even if they pass that proposal, it's not going to take effect until 2026 anyway. So things like that move really slowly. A lot of this stuff moves very slowly. I don't think that the closures of businesses are going to move slowly though. So those receiverships and types of things, those opportunities might come and go pretty quickly, but I just hope it's not all consolidated into MSOs and outside investment groups and things like that. I do hope that there's more small scale craft type, direct to consumer, seed to sale, whatever you want to call it, businesses in this industry, because that really is the only place you're going to get the best quality outside of growing it yourself.
Oh, I agree. I think that very unpopular opinion here. So, I believe that at the large dispensary level, we almost need to see the MSOs and the consolidation to run that level of product, that volume of product. That's not the shit we want anyways, but it needs to be there for the general public to keep meds cheap for people that can't afford $60, $80, $100 a gram, that type of stuff.
Almost more importantly is the access though, isn't it? Like that's really what these people are providing, is just access points.
Right.
And a lot of them.
They're a large conduit.
Yeah.
For getting it, because they can, and as long as the MSOs are kept under tight regulation. You know, I don't want shitty weed going out to the consumers either.
For sure.
You know, like we went through the list of all the changes, and a lot of those sounded good, and it was kind of weird to see stuff that sounds good coming out of regulations. But some of those made a lot of sense. So
yeah, well, it's because I think they're playing catch up with themselves at this point.
yeah, so I guess what I would like to see is that craft level develop more. And for people like us, like to realize where our place in the market is. I think that's a lot of people's problem, is that they think they're going to compete at the multi-million-dollar level and they belong at the farmer market. There's different levels to this, and you need to know where your place is in business. Every single one of my companies, I had to know who am I selling to and who are my customers. And you know,
that's the thing. If you don't know that by now, you're probably not going to last in this game anyway.
Right. And if you're not,
I mean?
Yeah, I just much prefer that craft developed layer to get better. That's why I'm rooting for that guy in Jackson. You know, I want to see a micro business success story, because then it will breed another success story. Someone's going to model it after him and make it a little better, and then a little better. And that's what we need. And then regulation to catch up. You know, I know we've heard you guys talk about it on Michigan Brothers Grow Show, right? The farmers markets and free access, that type of, how do we get to there? You know, I don't know what our next step is for that, but besides, I just can't sit around and yell about shit anymore. It's just too many years of fighting for this crap, and it's further than I've ever expected it.
Right. The ball has started and begun and continues to roll, and we just hope it does continue to roll. And you know, there'll be some bumps along the way for sure. Yeah, but yeah, we're just keep it on the path. You know what I mean? That's all we're asking, right?
Yeah.
Well, I certainly had a good 2024. I'm very excited for 2025 and all the crazy shit it's going to bring, because I know it will be. And I look forward to all you guys being there with us, man.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I did not expect my 2024 to go the way it did, but it was just, there was a lot of ups, lots of downs, but I think I'm in a good spot now, and I'm hoping that I'm ready to relax a little. That would be the goal here. Sick of working. So
yeah, you've earned it, brother.
Time to chill in 2025.
Enjoy the
chickens and gardening. That's what life's all about.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next time. Cheers, and
everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.